Thank
Greetings, everybody, and welcome to the World Media Coalition's Jazz Lovers Television Network. This is Ahmad Imam Mansour Ali El Bay Simmons. We are World Media Coalition Jazz Lovers Television Network, this self-perpetuating revenue-generating business model where you get paid to watch uh, business, cultural, educational TV, and entertainment with the conscious K. Today we have Van Miller's I Found My Voice once again. It's always good to have you. It's a
you.
great day,
Yes, it's always good.
great day to be alive. Any day above ground is a good day, as they say. So, Van, I'm going to let you get
Yes.
started. We have Mikasa Africa that is on. She's one of your guests. So, I want to let you get started. I need to contact our other guests. So, while you guys chat it up,
Okay.
I'll be over here.
All righty. Good afternoon, everyone, wherever you are in the world. Uh, this is Van Miller, your host for the Van Miller Talk Show. I found my voice, where everyone has a space to speak what it is that they want to speak about. It took me being 60 years old as a woman, a Black female, to realize that, I had a voice in what I thought has meaning, no matter if a person outside of my spectrum wants to hear it or not. I have a voice. So, thus, what we're doing here on a continual basis every Thursday around the world. And we have some amazing, beautiful women with us here today. Uh, Mishka Africa, the founder of Holy Africa. Do I have that right? I think she's on.
Is she
Are
still
you
muted?
here?
She's off
She's
of
muted.
mute. I don't know if she can hear us, though. Yeah, it's
Uh,
Holy Africa. And she sent me Recently, another company that she works with, another foundation that she works with.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have time to put it on the flyer. Let me just find it here.
I don't see her in the shot there.
She's on. I see her. I see her
Yeah.
on. She
Let's
may be
see
on
here.
mute.
So yeah, it's riotrevolt.org.
Oh wow. Wow.
Yeah. So I'm
Awesome.
anxious. I'm excited because I know a little bit about her
Mm-hmm.
by meeting her daughter.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to say why these two are so exciting. Actually, her daughter was
Yeah.
here in Salvador not too long ago.
Mm.
So I actually was able to meet her personally, and then just usually when people come out here from the States, especially my brothers and sisters, I like to show them
Mm-hmm.
around and show them how I live. So we were just hanging out and talking, and I was like, "So what do you do?" And she explained, and I was like,
Wow.
so I was like,
I
"Yeah,
know.
I want to get you on the show." And she was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Well, she can't do it, but her mom can do it." And
Mom. Oh,
actually,
okay.
her mom is on the other side of the
Well, there
planet.
she
There
is.
she is.
There she is. Hi, how are you doing today?
Hear some.
Ah, that's right. She's in Tanzania, so there may be a problem with the internet.
Oh, we're connecting. Oh, okay. All right. Well,
To hear times. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we
yes.
can hear you.
Mm-hmm. I think she's freezing up. You're on mute. I think that she's still trying to connect. I see we have a Hannah Boykin on.
Yeah, hello, Hannah. We're also waiting for Temperance to come on, if she can.
And we have an Oni, yes.
I wonder if
Hi,
that is
Oni.
Dr. Okika.
That's Dr.
I wonder.
Oh,
I sent
okay.
her the link. Oh man.
She's on mute. She's on. They're both on mute. So.
Okay. Yep, Mikisa Africa, Holy Africa, and Revolt, right? Right, Revolt. I hope you can get the connection, man.
Yes. Well, while we're waiting on them, one of my questions today is, what does the matriarch of the family look like in 2021? When we look back, most of the time we think it's the great grandmother, the grandmother, a great auntie, or someone in that retrospective as to who is the leader of our family when it comes to what is going on and what happens and what is being said and how our family moves along in life. And we're realizing that 2020 sort of changed the dynamic of what our family is looking like. And so my question would be, who, if you had to think or speak on it today, who would be the matriarch for your family? And now you look at it, it could be, for like myself, I'm not that old, but I don't have any aunts or grandmothers or anybody left. So to a certain degree, it sort of makes me the matriarch of my family. So matriarch now can be someone that may be 30, 40, 50 years old. So, what does that dynamic look like for your family?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Because we just always thought that grandma and great grandma and great auntie would be those people that are in that space. Those are the people that we go to when we have questions and concerns and things that are going on in the family. But who is that person in 2021?
Wow. Yeah, matriarchal, I would say. There's my mom, you know, she
Mm-hmm.
doesn't really assume the position of leader, but she's there,
Mm-hmm.
she's still able to give advice. Uh, but
It's a great
yeah,
question, and
I
I've
have
just
no
really
answer.
been thinking about it. So that was my question for the ladies today. So, when they get on, I'm excited to, hear their answer or their take on who is the matriarch
Okay, well, let's
in
see.
that space in
Mikisa
2020.
Mikisa just came back on another
I see
account, so
her.
hopefully she can get
I just spoke to
connected.
Dr. Okika,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
and she's waiting for the link. I thought I had emailed it to her. Do you have her email address?
Yeah, I just emailed it to her.
Okay, let me text her, because I just spoke to her. She said she's on her laptop waiting to get on.
Okay.
I hope the
Ah,
connection is better
We
this
can hear
time.
you.
Can you hear
yeah,
me?
good. Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay,
Awesome.
awesome. Yes, you all are looking good and black today. It's
Yeah.
good to see everybody.
Likewise.
Great to have
Likewise.
you
I
on.
thank you for the welcome. My daughter's traveling today, so thank you for taking me in her place. It is an honor.
Yeah,
And
no
just to
problem.
tell you a little bit about Holy Africa as well as Riot Revolt. Um, Back in 2017, there was a lot of, it is an honor, about revolt statues in America. And the weekend of August 14th, 2017, there were protests in Charlottesville, Virginia, as well as counter protests in that area. And as part of a basically part of the war that is inflicted on us, a soldier decided to take it into their own hands and actually do something based on all the energy around a black man that got beat in Virginia, as well as a woman who was marching in the struggle against the Confederate statues. My daughter in Durham, North Carolina at the time decided to take down a Confederate that used to be in front of the Durham House for over 50 years. And it came down in Black August, and we're almost the 4-year mark. Did it freeze up again?
We can still hear you.
We hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. And so we're almost at the 4-year anniversary of the statue taken down in Durham. But our story of COINTELPRO is just about that. So that led me to come to ESAC.
I think we lost her again.
Okay, now it froze.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, were you able to get most of what she said? Because
I heard her speaking about Durham, North Carolina, and statues in Durham.
yeah.
North Carolina, that's my hometown. I used to work down in Durham, 15501.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got family out there.
Mm-hmm. I have my kids are there. My daughter actually teaches in the school system. She's been a teacher for 17 years, and she teaches in Durham, and they live in Durham.
Nice.
Yeah.
And actually do something based on as part of a basically war that is inflicted as well as a woman who was marching at the time decided to take down a Confederate statue that used to be in front of the as well as a woman who was marching in the struggle against courthouse for over 50 years. And it came down in Black August, and we're almost at the 4-year mark. Did it freeze up again? Anniversary
Can
of
you
the
hear us?
statue of COINTELPRO. 10 to also be physically, mentally, just divest. Hello, from the United States of America.
Okay, can you hear us?
Sorry, I think from the United States.
I don't think she can hear us.
Yes, I can hear you now. I disabled the video. I disabled maybe that will make it better.
Okay,
Hello?
it's like you were on a loop for a second.
Okay.
Okay, let's see here.
I'm
Are you on 2 accounts? Hello, Mikisa? Because I
Okay.
actually did two accounts here. One has the camera on and one has the camera off. Trying to see which one.
yes, I can hear you. That's why it's taking so much here. Can you just
It's okay because we got you twice actually, which is weird.
Mm.
I think Dr. Okika just came on as well.
Yeah, I saw her.
Yeah.
Hi, Dr. Okika.
Hi, Dr. Okika. How are
Hi,
you?
Vanessa. How are you?
Good. And yourself?
yes, that was
I'm
the right
good. All the way from New York. How are you doing?
Mhm. I'm doing great in Atlanta. I'm down in Atlanta, so I'm doing well.
Wow, great. Great to meet you all here.
Mhm.
Welcome,
one.
welcome.
Mikisa, how are you? Still there? Okay.
Yes,
I see.
I'm here.
I'm going to kick the other you out
Okay.
and see how that works.
For some reason, it's freezing up today on everybody, huh?
Yeah.
It's so cloudy and rainy.
Yeah, that's part of the spiritual warfare.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So now I think we can hear you. Could you back up a little bit and speak a little bit about a little more about what role you had in the
Yes,
statues?
I can hear you. Can you? Oh, in the Confederate statue coming down, I was able to witness what happened,
Okay.
and I was not ready for the joy that I felt that day. I've done many celebrations and parties and basement bashments, but the excitement that was felt that day was tremendous. It was a victory. And my role afterwards was as a supporter to my daughter when she was victimized. Yes, that was the right one. I was able to witness. I was not ready for it. Hello.
Hello?
Okay. Okay. Oh, witness everything that happened, or the joy that I was in party felonies, that Confederate excitement that was felt that day at your courthouse. And the amazing thing about that, before 24 hours even passed by, because of the historical change that she made, Maryland started taking down their statues. Other states followed suit short. And the amazing thing about that, before 24 hours even passed, partly then, and the amazing thing about change that she made, Maryland started taking down their statues. This year, with the murder of George Floyd, statues were even pulled down and put in the river overseas in Europe
Oh, wow.
by Blacks and Africans.
Yeah, that was an amazing.
Their own, just by determining that to be the state is committed in period. Yes.
Man, connection over there is really bad.
She's in Tanzania?
Yeah.
Okay, let's send her a chat and let's speak with Dr. Okika.
Okay.
Okika, yes. Hi, Dr.
Yes.
Okika. Welcome, welcome, welcome from New
Grounds
York.
at their
New York, one of
own,
my
other
places.
states.
Yes.
And since then, especially this state, is
And
complicit in
she's
white
still
superiority.
She's still on.
Hold on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think he's speaking to her.
Yeah, I'm gonna send her a message.
You sending her a message?
Yes.
Okay. Just tell her to hang on. We're gonna talk with Dr. Okika.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a couple of other people on as well who
Yeah,
haven't.
Hannah Boykin.
Yes.
And Ani.
Only, and I think the center of
Mm-hmm.
action, I think this might be temperance, but I'm not sure. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Kika.
So, yes, tell us a little bit about yourself. It's just amazing to have you on to speak with us today.
Thank you for this invitation. And Vanessa, thank you for what you are doing. It's been nice meeting you again.
Yes.
Yes. And Makub, you've been so wonderful. Every time you disturb me.
He doesn't give up, Dr.
give
Okika.
up, So that's interesting. And my big boy,
Yes.
Ahmad, I think he's stepping into the shoes of his dad by
I don't
trying
know about
to
that.
follow up.
Mm.
By trying to disturb, you need to do this, you need to come up. So it's an interesting thing to be here again, especially on programs like this. And I thank God for the almighty COVID-19 who has given us the opportunity to globalize even from your bedroom. So it's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I don't have much to say about myself because I don't know how to talk about myself. That's my fault.
Mm. That's why we have this show, Dr. Okika, because it says, I found my voice. So we're going to help you find your voice today.
So, but I am an African, and I have grown up with a passion that women, youth, children, and education are very vital to development. And this has sort of provided me the passion and the encouragement to do all I've been doing. So someone who has been a school teacher, an educationist, a child psychologist, and also a researcher. So it built my interest to begin to put all my interest into one house. And that's when I went into the actual program on global education. Now, I think that's all I can say.
So what does that consist of? What does that look like in 2020 with so many things going on and school system as it is, and people are being displaced, and what does that look like?
Yes, it was a terrible experience. Why it was terrible? Because my aspect of education deals with the children, which is 0 to 12 years. So, and it became difficult to see how best to also keep them busy and also keep them academic focused. you know, especially when parents have to leave them at home to look for funds and money to work to get to keep the family running. So it became a problem of getting them together. And again, the issue about the COVID-19 policies and rules also was not able for you to gather them together, probably order a park and bring them together to somewhere to educate. So it became a challenge, you know. And then we try to look at certain aspects of areas, especially when education started to go remotely and virtual, through trying to see how best we can get all the children on board into education. But we had challenges of trying to also reach out to children in rural communities, which were our main focus. Because I don't believe that education in New York City or education in Atlanta has a problem. We are looking at the timid areas where there is no water, no light, no, and these children, we are talking about leave no one behind. These people must not be left behind in the times of development. And what is development? What is the base of development? Is education. So now in this kind of situation, we found out that they are all left behind because they don't have even a common phone. They don't have, in some communities in Africa, where we got some of challenges, there is no electricity, you know, and most of them don't even know what is laptop or iPad or something like that. So it became real that these children were left behind when all their counterparts in the city were using Google Hangout, Microsoft Team, and all the rest of them. So it became a challenge for us, you know. But I told my team that we can't keep quiet. We have to see how best to keep them busy. So we started homeschooling. And every week we package subjects and begin to go to their different houses. But there are still challenges because no one teaches them. The parents are not home to teach them. And most times the teachers can't go around to give them the home package because they don't know how to get to their various areas. And again, some of at times the staff don't have a transportation availability, you know. So these were challenges, but the greater percentage of people that participated in the homeschooling benefited. They kept themselves busy. And again, it was expensive for the school because they have to type, they have to bind, they have to buy papers, buy computer ink, and all to make sure that all these were packaged, you know. So these were correct, but we tried at least a good percentage were able to get their focus even when they were at home and all the rest of them. So when the school gradually called back, there wasn't much different, you know, to bridge the gap. So I think that the year of 2020 was a great challenge to education. Another thing we tried to do that we tried to come up with a product we say Rural Plus. You know, Rural Plus seems to be what we tend to have, like instead of calling it iPad or telephone, we have to design, we are working to design a particular instrument that will include every subject, every school curriculum, and everything, the class, so that even when the COVID continues and there's still lockdown, the children will just comfortable sit at home. The teacher will be sitting in the class just as we are sitting like this. And then they log into it, everyone will be queued in to work on. So we are still working on that instrument. Because, and even if we are again trying to look at it the other way around, that even if there's no COVID, there are still home assignment, which the Rural Plus will be also very, very beneficial.
Wow, this Ahmad, this seems like something that would definitely work for you where you
Yeah.
are.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely.
It's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. So, Doctor, I had a question today, and my
Yes.
question was, who is the matriarch of your family, and what does that look like in 2020?
The matriarch of my family.
Yes.
I think when it comes to that question, it's myself.
Mm.
Oh,
See?
because my entire family, I seem to be the oldest.
Mm.
So right now I'm the matriarch. And then in 2020, it was a tension year because every morning you want to reach out to all of them, Australia, UK, Nigeria, Philadelphia, Connecticut, Houston. You have to keep abreast. You have to keep checking. You have to keep. In fact, it became a routine. That even when you send greetings in the morning, if none replies, it triggers an emotion and you begin to call. You begin to find out. So it became a responsibility of someone who takes the headship of the family. And also, it was a responsibility. It developed emotional catharsis. It has a lot of worries because you keep, especially when you open the television and you hear the triggers of number of people dying and all the rest of it, all the rest of it. So you became more psychologically disturbed, So it was a reach out to each and every one of them. And each time you call and you don't hear anything, it's a double.
It's a trigger.
Yeah.
It's
It's
a
a
trigger
double
for you.
trigger.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. See, and that was what I was speaking on before you came on. We, normally would think that person would be a grandmother, great grandmother, a great auntie, but I myself have been put in that space to be the matriarch of my family, and I'm like, oh, I'm only 62.
So we are
And,
twins now.
So it changed.
We are twins now.
The twins. Yes. So
Yes.
it changed, that dynamic has changed in the family. I think not only in our culture, but in all cultures.
Mm-hmm.
The dynamic of who is that person that is in charge of what's going on with the family.
Yeah, that's the thing. But also, even the culture I was brought up, it's always a responsibility for the older one to be responsible over the younger ones. So I was let me say, I was personally brought up with that kind of responsibility. So even when this happened, it wasn't a big deal for me, except the fact that the fear of the high rising number of deaths was sort of triggered emotions, and worry. And you kept on praying, checking on, talking to them, making sure that everyone is fine.
Wow. That's amazing. I think it's just being on me. And I was like, what does that matriarch look like in 2021? It looks like us.
Of course, it looks like us. And in 2021, we just have to continue from where we stopped, probably expand it based on experiences, based on experience, because, as adults, it's not easy to deal with adults. Even if it's children from your own womb, it's never easy when they become an adult. So you have some of them might feel you are prognosing into their affairs, into their personal matters, but you need a lot of relationship for them to understand that as the matriarch of the family, it is your responsibility to know that even if you don't have money to give them, you have the prayers, you have the encouragement, you have the support to provide in one way or the other. So in 2021, it's like evaluating the 2020 role, identifying the gaps and the challenges, and be able to build on that, because it has come, it's not going to stop. And if it's not going to stop, then we have to keep on building. It's like graduating from one level to the other. Now we've graduated from the lockdown era. Now we are down trying to graduate from we are now going into the vaccine, COVID-19 vaccine era. And this is also needs graduation, because you need to find out, are you taking, how are the children going to take, will you take? And then you also need to ask yourself, what have you taken? Because when you take and you tell them you have taken, then let them go and take.
Your
so
family is not going to, oh, are you getting the vaccine?
I get you.
No, I haven't taken it, so I can't expect somebody else to take it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a graduation process that we are in now.
And I think that it definitely is going to be something that will take a few years for us to circle back around and feel comfortable with what has went on in this space and time.
Yeah.
And to make sure that everybody is not going to get out of it, but you at the same time being that person will have to always reach back for that person, because we know that they're not going to be or have the mindset to be able to move forward in what's going on. So,
well, you all know that human beings, growing the human race is difficult. It's difficult. So you have to also learn something like patience with people, because a lot will not like what you are doing. A lot will not, even though you are from the same background and all the rest of them. So, but you have to learn about patience. You have to also learn about persistence. Just as Makuf and Ahmad is only to persist, Doctor. That even when you say, I'm logging in 15 minutes, so come with it. So there's that power of persistence that we have to adopt, in order to get people, especially the family members, understand that you are there for the interest of everyone in the family.
Yeah, and we have to understand that it is also okay to, we have this taboo thing that is not good to go and speak to therapists. We have to also
we need to break that.
able to put some of them in the space and tell them, it's okay for you to go and talk to somebody. I think that's one of the biggest things that we've learned during 2020. It's okay to go and speak to somebody about what's going on with you. Yeah, I think Dr. Kufu has a question.
Yes, I do. Dr. Okika said she doesn't like to talk about herself, but she has a very important responsibility with UNESCO, which is the United Nations Education, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. And I'd like for her to talk about the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And then I'd like to engage her in the conversation about developing the indigenous curriculum for UNESCO that she has asked me to help her with as well.
Oh, thank you.
You're on the spot. He's put you on the spot.
I tell you. So well, when the UN was about to end the Millennium Development Goals, there were a discussion on post-2015 development agenda. The Millennium Development Goals were ended in 2015. So there was discussions on what next after the 2015. So the post-2015 agenda started. And in that, you had committees, especially at the UN, that formed groups, became members, and there were discussions in how best to come up with a particular strategy or a line of solution for the direction of the world in the next 15 years. Now, there were evaluation of Millennium Development Goal, which is MDGs. There was evaluation, was it successful? How far did it go? Where did we make it, and where was it not made? How did it go around the member states, and did it reach anyone? So all those ones were concluded, and they found that there were a lot of gaps in the Millennium Development Goals. And one of them was that the Millennium Development was too much talking. You know, you talk about MDGs, talking about conference, talking about this and that. There wasn't more practicality. So in one of the groups I was in, we were thinking about ideas and a solution that can introduce, that can inject practicality into the next 15 years. And by the time the world leaders signed in the 17 goals, and they mentioned the sustainable development goal. So they were looking at sustainability, you know, so from millennium development, and they started looking at sustainability, and it came up with 17 goals. And then this 17 goal has a major objective. One, it has a 5 Ps that has to do with, the focus was the 17 goals were grouped into 5 Ps. And the Ps, we are looking at the people, looking at the planet Earth, looking at prosperity, that is, of course, that's where sustainability comes, because when you prosper, you are being sustained. You're looking at sustainability and prosperity, and they're looking at the peace and partnership. So the 17 goals we are grouped into these 5 Ps. And under the caption that no one should be left behind, let's leave no one behind. So it became a concern that whatever we are doing, everybody must be involved, all must get in, none should be left behind. Mm-hmm. You know, just like the evaluation of MDGs, a lot were left behind. So this one became a train, SDG became a train that will carry everyone up. Now, whether you are disabled, whether you are a child, whether you are still in the womb, whether it has to do. And if you look at sustainable goals, they're talking about eradication of poverty, ending hunger, wellness, health. It's talking about quality and inclusivity. It's talking about gender equality. It's talking about clean water and sanitation. It's talking about climate change. It's talking about sustainable cities. It's talking about economic growth and development. It's talking about inequalities. It's also talking about which I hope I'm remembering all, peace and partnership. You know, it's also talking about climate change. So all these things we are built on that they considered the entire person. You know, they look at if Makuf as a person is living on the planet Earth, he has to be made to prosper. He has to, and when he prospers, his life is at peace. And also he has, for him to live, for him to be able to exist sustainably, he has to experience partnership. Even if it's not experiencing partnership with inner family, partnership with his spouse, with children, with friends, is also a means of, you know, what we are looking. So the individual became a necessity, a necessary goal to be able to achieve it. And if the individual is existing, now there should be, his environment must be enabled, must be fit for him to live. His environment will provide him all the necessities, all the needs that he needs to be able to exist. And what are the needs? We talk about accommodation, clean water, health. You talk about school. You talk about everything that needs to make life enabled has to be provided in the planet, in the environment of the person. So this is where the SDG has continued to move on. And then by 2019, it was by September 2015, it was adopted to start from January 1, 2016. And it was then that having participated in most major groups and committees discussing all these things. And it came to me that, oh, now the UN is talking about leave no one behind. And I have experienced, I've had an experience that most of the policies, most of the benefits, most of the incentives is not universal. And I consider those in rural communities, the women, the children, the youth, the rural communities, especially in developing countries, how can they fit in? How can they get involved with join the global wagon in order to become a total person, to become a sustained person? And this made me come up with, got involved with the US Federation of UNESCO Clubs, Center and Association. And then we started the UNESCO Center for Global Education as a club. And when we found out that we were getting into more involving internationally, we changed it to Center for SDG Global Education USA. So because that will enable us to expand what we are doing instead of limiting it only to the circle of a club, you know. So this is what happened, and this has continued for us to organize international conferences, summits, trying to discuss areas of improving, achieving quality and inclusive, because we based our mission on the Center for SDG, which is formerly UNESCO Center for SDG. We base it on SDG 4, which has to do with inclusive and quality education for lifelong learning. So we base it on, and we're looking at how can a child in the rural community or from the village where I come from, how can that child experience quality and inclusive education for lifelong learning? You know, and this is what made us to begin to organize conferences and training sections. In most situations, we do visit community stakeholders, you know, to discuss our possibility of getting them involved into the education of the child in the society, right? Giving them, expanding their knowledge of learning, you know, to be able to sustain, to grow sustainably, you know, because a lot of things remain that I knew when I was growing up with my late parents. You would say, when you know this, do you know the other one? So you have to work at a balance, to balance what you know and what you don't know, you know. And this is exactly what we tend to do. And in the course of carrying this project on education solutions, I found out that indigenous community, you know, indigenous community is also a group that must not be left behind. And I discussed with my crew, I said, do you have something like in anywhere in the world where there's a university of indigenous people's university? You know, do you have any curriculum that has to do with the indigenous people's education? Because even one time at the UN 2 or 3 years back, there was a 2-week discussion on indigenous people's education, which means education is the group is also very vital. And the UN has a section, a committee, Commission on Indigenous People at the UN, which also discussed about things that could favor the indigenous people. And this is what we're looking at. And we look at the indigenous people in the community. How far have they been adapted? What are they benefiting? What is challenging their life, you know? And that was when I got issue about thinking about curriculum for indigenous people, education for indigenous people, a streamlined education system. Because what is keeping us unsustainable is us not having proper education or continuous education about our roots, you know, about our origin. Where do you come from? and if we don't have that origin, it's like you get all the letters, all the PhDs, all the doctorate, and you still remain unbaked. You still remain half-baked because you have not learned knowledge about your foundation, and which is very, very true, that because these days parents don't even have time to educate their children about their roots. Why? Because they don't know. You can only teach what you know. So now, if my parents didn't tell me about my roots, where I come from, my maternal side, my grandfather's side, my great-grandmother's side, I wouldn't be able to take the responsibility of being the matriarch of my family today, because that gives you responsibility. And if the indigenous people will just say, oh, things are better, I'm on my own, my son is in Brazil, and without giving your son the sound education about his origin, being aware about his origin, then we are not sustaining his future. Because life is like continuity. Remember, even in the Bible, it said the generations, when God will say you are generations. So we were oriented into the Christian philosophy of generations. So there's always need for continuity. There's need in continuity in what, from family, in your career, in your development, and in humanity. So if there's no place to bring out the knowledge about indigenous people, then how can their future be sustained? And you look at it along the UN Sustainable Development Goal agenda, things are being left behind as far as the indigenous people is concerned. And education is very, very vital, because through education, I can decide to come and learn a degree or graduate education or even advanced diploma on indigenous people. And this also helps with what I'm doing in trying to advance quality and inclusive education for the rural communities. So it's a very good it's a very good experience, and we are still thinking about the way out, the possibility of like in November, we launched a campaign on Get on Board Children of the World for the UN Decade of Action. And we were focusing entirely on the indigenous community, and some of them I got in some people to speak, and share some of their concerns and gaps and challenges. And from all this, the education, health, social development is where most of the speakers have part on. And we are still working to see what best we can bring out before we can hold the next program, a follow-up program on that regards.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. I'd like to comment if I can.
Go ahead.
Absolutely.
The conversation that Dr. Okika and I had regarding this occurred back at the Turkish embassy in New York several years ago. And the reality of the enslavement of people of color is contributed to and by the lack of the indigenous learning that is not addressed in our communities. Elijah Muhammad said, you must take responsibility for the education of your children. And now there are a lot of charter schools coming up. However, this month is so-called Black History Month. And the fallacy of Black History Month is that it always begins with the enslavement of our people. It never goes back to pre-enslavement, pre-captivity. Even in some university settings, in college settings, they have the African-centered curriculum. What needs to be done is what Dr. Okika is talking about, is developing indigenous educational institutions that form the basis of their instruction on the truth of our existence and our contributions to the world's civilizations. I recently have reached out to Professor James Smalls, and I wanted to get him on this production, but he texted me and said he's sick. He's going to come on. I got to call him. He wants to come on again. I'd like to get him and Dr. Okika on this production because he is one of the people, along with Dr. Linda Jeffries, Dr. Brown, I can't think of his first name, Asa Hilliard, Dr. Ben, who addressed the learning that our people need to have in order for us to soundly base our identity in our cultural existence and then build off of that because, and I'm gonna finish with this comment, culture drives your economy. What do I mean by that?
Mhm.
When you look at Asians, you look at other ethnic groups, their economy is based upon their culture because their culture has certain goods and services that they can rely upon, the Jewish community, the Italian community. Cultural characteristics and ethnic identity drive your economy. Drive your economy. Why? Because now you have goods and services that are distinct to your culture, distinct to your ethnic identity, distinct to who you are as a people that you buy from other people in your community, thereby circulating the dollar in your community several times before it leaves. Our community lacks that ability because our cultural identity is rooted in our enslavement identity. Therefore, we don't have any real cultural characteristics that will necessitate us buying goods and services from each other to grow the wealth base in our community. So with Dr. Okika and I had this conversation, he said, Makakuvu, let's work on this. And it's been several years, it's not gonna happen overnight, but it's important. And that's why I asked her to come to our production, your production van, so you can speak with her. And you see she's shy about talking about herself, but when she gets started, she's on a roll.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What am I here?
So I see Mikisa is back on. I don't know if we can hear her. At least if we could get her on to give us her. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Okay. I haven't heard the majority of the conversation that was had around education, but that's something that Riot Revolt, as well as Holy Africa, strongly believes in. And what I did hear about not having a real culture is actually true. I see that in Africa, there is a culture. There is less spending and more designing, more producing the tools that you need to live every single day, right? And education, I think starts with decolonizing, right? You know, reading books like this. I have a friend that traveled to meet me, right? And I had them pack in their bag many books for me because my intention is to have donations come in of books, because I've spoken to different African people here in Tanzania, and they're like, wow, that's an African man that wrote that book, and we don't even have those books here in Africa, right?
Can you imagine?
And when my friend came over, they were questioned severely. Why are you traveling? Why are you reading these books, right? Because the books are more dangerous than any gun. Because once you're free, your body has to follow.
Wow.
And that's what education allows. Education allows freedom. education allows you to get back to your culture, right? And find out what it means to be African and use everything and not throw out, not waste, and not mess up our earth.
Mhm. Mhm. Wow. So did you hear
Yeah,
my
so,
question earlier?
And also, what was the question?
So
No,
for me,
don't
I
think so.
hear that you are a matriarch in a different space, because your thing is that you
Mhm.
are not only looking at what goes for your family, but all the other people that are around.
Yes.
Yeah. So it takes on a different meaning for you.
Yeah. Right, because I don't have an actual building or a library right now, but
Mhm.
I do lend out books to the people around me. I do
Wow.
talk about their experience while sharing my own, because you have to build bridges in order to have a full picture. And the short time that I've been here, I know for a fact there's nothing in Africa that just goes linearly, in a line.
Mhm.
Everything in Africa is in a full circle, right?
Mm.
Just like a woman, just like a matriarch, right?
Mhm.
Because that's what it takes to actually run Africa.
Mm.
And from what I've been seeing, there's less capitalistic nature because, of course, there's less money that goes around. So a lot of things have to be produced. Recently, I was stuck in a puddle and 17 men from out of the village came to get us out the puddle. They cut down a tree to make a bridge for us to drive through. And the mechanic showed up with about 3 tools, right? But he was still able to get the front tire off of the car, diagnose the car, get it driving forward and in reverse. And it wasn't doing that when we were initially stuck in the road, right? But my father said something about Africans, and he was going senile, and he used some terminology that I rarely ever heard him use. And he told me, niggers can do anything. And every day that I pass through Africa, I see that for myself. We can do anything. All we have to do is divest from America, build up Africa, and then we will have no need to educate anyone in America because we will divest totally because we've already built that country.
Wow. Wow.
See? That's what I told you. I was excited to have her on the program.
Yes, 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 yes. So can you tell us, give us your information as to how people can reach you? What your social media looks like,
Well,
and kind of thing?
Social media, we can be found on Riot_Revolt at this time. We're going through the process of rebranding with 0 funds. So if anybody out there is listening and wants to help us design some, I guess, social network marketing tools, then that would be much appreciated because we are operating on a 0 budget, but a lot of faith. And before I even got to Africa and had a way to Africa, I packed my travel bags, because I knew I was going to make it to Africa, right? Because the spiritual attacks were coming more and more and more, and was like, why are you not listening to me? You need to be in Africa. You need to change your course, right? Because I could continue to fight in my neighborhood. I did not share that part of COINTELPRO, right? It's not over. I was raided, right? 2 times police came to my house just because I was listening to Malcolm X, right? And 10 plus police officers with guns came into my house with my children there, and all in the guise of protecting and serving, right? When we all know that they showed up for one purpose, in retaliation to the statue coming down, right?
Yeah.
I'm surveilled, my family is surveilled on a regular basis. So I said the most damage that I could do is not watching my back in America, it's divesting from America, because I'm the piece that they actually need. They would not go after us so hard if we were not making a difference, even if it's just one of us. I'm one woman, but if you teach one woman, right? The scary thing is we can teach a generations. You teach one man, you just teach that man.
Wow.
I'd like to
That's
add that
deep. That is deep right there.
I'd like
That
to
is
add to
amazing.
that comment for Mikisa, because the woman is the mother of the nation. When you lift the woman, you raise the nation.
That's
Yeah.
right.
I only didn't say it because I know he was gonna say it.
And
I know,
also,
I thought he forgot that project he was working on. He has been so much passion to that professor for some time. He has not, probably since after the death of his friend, his late Du Bois, decided to forget that initiative. So we wish to say that March 8th is International Women's Day, so try to bring it back that time.
Yeah.
okay.
And again,
Well, we don't forget.
yeah, I know. So moving into is it Mikisa, right? Did I get it right?
Makisa, yes.
Mikisa,
Yes,
what she
Makisa.
said about education and the challenges we have in Africa. I think, in my own personal opinion, the education system in Africa is strongly started. And if we don't address it, we continue to be vulnerable, even when we are very intelligent. Now, I tell you, for example, in my community, a child from a rural community who is 2 years or 3 years or 5 years starts school for the first time. He goes to the school, and the first lesson is A is apple, Z is zebra. This child has never seen apple. He has never tasted apple. He has never know what it is. He has now had the opportunity of going to any zoo to see zebra before school starts. One, the parents have no money to take him to, probably from a local community to Abuja, where he can go to the zoo and see zebra. Two, the parents don't have apple in the community. Unlike their fellow children in the developed world, they have seen colors of apple, they have tasted apple juice, they have eaten apple pie, in fact, the name apple rings bell in their ear. So from day one, we start school in Africa is cramming. Because the school would sing the alphabet rhyme, alphabet poem. A is apple, B is da, Z is zebra. And then we continue to grow on that level. I read sciences in my school days, and there were at times when I see those terminology, I say, was it what they were telling me that time? But then we're all trying to read to pass exam. And what do? You cram this situation on your head. Those who are good at cramming, you just zero it back. You just log in to the question for the teacher. And when the teacher sees that, okay, you produce what he or she gave on the note, you pass. But the applicability, which is geared to sustainability, is not there. You can only apply what you understand. So, and I feel the same thing also goes to indigenous community. Some of the knowledge we have, I admire our people so well, because they read, they put all the energy to read. And like my people from the tribe where I come from, Igbo people of Nigeria, David, if one person can decide to have 5 PhDs, once you have money, But when we keep on reading, we keep on bringing in big grammar, bringing vocabulary. When you hear them speak in any, for what will be hearing damsism, big word. You know, and at the end of it all, you read some of the books written by some of them. You don't have the spirit to know what is going on in the next chapter. You know, so because the language is too strong. You know, unlike some of the books you get, when you read one, you say, you'll be anxious to know what is going to happen, what's going to be written in the next chapter. You'll be, you know, it's written is smooth, it flows. So what I'm saying, trying to say that we have a lot of work to do in terms of education system, you know, and the basis is very, very extremely important. And the SDG 4 is talking about quality and inclusive education for lifelong learning. So how can we define quality in terms of the present curriculum we have? How can we define inclusiveness in terms of, because inclusive involves the cognitive, the affective, and the psychomotor, you know, because the lifelong learning is, okay, when you are now grounded, you can now pick it up, you know, and that is a lifelong learning. So there is breaking, and I admire what my sister said, and if we, that is where partnership of the SDGs comes. If we can come together, I don't know which part of Africa you are from. I'm from Nigeria, and if we can come in together and build, I've been trying to start confederation of proprietors of private school for Africa. And why I want it to get started is to see how we can actually understand what we are doing. Because if you run a private school, you are training humanity, you are building humanity, you are developing a personality, and it is not a business-making venture. It's not like someone who has a business in the market, buying and selling and making money. Once you have run a school, you are developing a humanity, and it sort of, it doesn't give you profit. Just take a look at yourself when you are training your children in school. You have 5 children, or already said 3 children, even if it's 2. They have to start from daycare. You pay tuition every week, every 2 weeks, until they are 18 years. Tell me what can you, how much profit, how much things can you acquire? You are thinking about education, you are thinking about health, you are thinking about feeding, you are thinking about clothing, you are thinking about vacation for the children in order to make them happy. So you see, if you put yourself and experiencing this in the home, what about the school? So I always tell my African proprietors that kill your spirit over thinking that you run a school is for you to make money. It is spiritual. You are developing human beings, and you don't have to think of in fact, there's no profit at all. If you are making profit,
there's profit there in raising the children, but it's not monetarily profit.
Exactly,
right?
And I remember why some of us didn't like to be teachers, because we were told that the teacher's reward when we are growing up is in heaven. You know, and the heaven, you know, and where is the heaven? When you have developed these people and they graduated, you know, they can come to remember, this person who passed through, is a medical doctor, is an attorney, is a principal of a school, is a politician. When they see you, say, oh, this was my teacher, and that is your heaven, that's their reward. You know, but these days teachers will say, my reward is no longer in heaven, it's now. It's now. And then they define the human development in their own environment, to suit their own environment, you know. And what do we gain? We still continue to produce half-baked individuals. Okay, how come a child who started very well from home, halfway to high school is dropped out? Which means the foundation was dropped, was not well, okay. How can you drop? You'll be having desire to finish school. In fact, I know in those days you have peer group competition. This person is in this university, this person is in this university. You feel so much ashamed of yourself that even these holidays, you try to go to either your brother or who is in the university to take his university notebook that has the name of the university, and you take it like this and go to the library, that people will think you are in the university. Because there was peer group influence competition, and we were growing up to that. There were challenges. So in those times, there was no need for you to think of dropping out from school.
Well, it was a different era as well. There was a lot of independence talk. There was a lot of Black power talk. There was a lot of Black national talk back in those days that you're speaking of, that people took ownership of not only their education, but self-determined their freedom as well. There's not as much talk anymore about Black nationalism, right? And a lot of that has to do with the current systems that are being influenced too much by the Western world, right?
Absolutely.
I chose Tanzania for a purpose, because the first president of Tanzania was Julius Nyerere. And what he did is try to unify Africa by choosing Swahili over English as the national language. And I've been trying to decolonize and learn Swahili. And someone said, okay, well, what you got to do is start by the sounds. And it's not A-E-I-O-U. It's A-E-I-O-U, right? And from the beginning, when you go to ba, be, be, ba, boo, everything you can trace back to a family, right? If you go to ba and then boo, you got your grandfather. You go to ma and moo, you got your grandmother. Everything is centered, even the alphabet, on family, right? And that creates that creates less division, right? Even Matthew said, a nation divided cannot stand. And I know he was talking about the Black nation, right? And we're to spread out, right? So even if we focus and pinpoint on one part of Africa, without reaching all of Africa to make it one Africa, there will be no difference. We have to go back to Black nationalism wherever you are. That will increase education.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The conversation is very significant because on our programs, I Found My Voice, The Myology of a People, and some of the other productions that we are doing with the World Media Coalition, Jazz Lovers Television Network. There have been a number of different people that have been on our productions that I'd like to bring all of you back on one production. Because the reason why I say that is not so much to isolate anybody, 2 or 3 people on a production, is because there needs to be a connection established amongst us moving forward so that all of us can rely upon each other.
Yes.
Build the network out.
Right.
Dr. Okika has a very, very significant role and position with the United Nations. So for us to galvanize all of this mindset that the World Media Coalition is bringing to our productions, and then to be able to translate that into sitting in the United Nations as a group, representing the different facets of our network so that it can be tied to her work to develop the indigenous curriculum document that can be presented to the various departments within the United Nations to be accepted and then move forward to use it as the foundation to establish the Indigenous University.
Yes.
These productions aren't just feel-good productions.
That's right. That's right. Because we get taken down when we don't say the right thing, so we know that we're doing something
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Right. They've taken several of our productions
Down.
off YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what I do want to share is the fact that there is a major project that is underfoot between Ahmad, myself, and a Moorish community, a Moorish kingdom, the Gambia, and Guinea-Bissau. That too is going to be brought to the forefront. The document is just about complete and it's very significant. And we will also present it with Dr. Okika so it can be presented to the United Nations. That project we're talking about is to take a flotilla of ships back to the continent to represent the return of the ancestors in the Neteru. That is underfoot. That is looking like a $250 million project to bring those ships with cargo ships and medical supplies, ocean liners from the East Coast and the West Coast, meeting down in Brazil and then bringing that convoy of ships across the water. That is what is being worked on right now.
That's what's needed.
There's a meeting on Zoom. All of our Zoom meetings are recorded and archived. People who are going to be in our productions are going to begin to be invited to those meetings as we expand this project into the world arena. Every country and every company that benefited from the enslavement of our people is going to receive this document. Every one of them to be held accountable because our ancestors who are in the bottom of the ocean, those spirits have to be raised up. And that's what this flotilla is going to be doing, to raise those spirits of our ancestors and harness that spiritual energy to liberate ourselves from our spiritual enslavement. Because Black folks think our enslavement began in 1619. It began over 2,000 years ago. Over 2,000 years ago. So what is happening with us is not just us. It's to harness those spirits of our ancestors and use that energy, use their tears, use their pain, use their sorrow to lift our people and liberate ourselves and decolonize, as the sister says.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Dr. Okika, can you tell us about your social media and how we can reach out to you?
I have my Facebook. I can send email on that, but I don't know how to say it off head. I have my Facebook. That's my personal Facebook. And then I have my organization on LinkedIn. You just look at Center for SDG Global Education USA. We're on LinkedIn. And I think I am on Instagram. I've forgotten. I think I am there. So I will share it with Ahmad, and he can send it out to you.
Put it in. Yeah, he'll put it in. Ahmad, do you have anything to add today?
No, actually I don't. It's been a great program.
Ahmad, I always look for you to talk about your project.
The youth under you are not active. They're not active. They're not active. And look, you can be relying on your parents because they have set the pace for you guys to grow and sustain the generation so that it can transfer. But if each time you guys prefer to be on Facebook, to be on phone, without trying to, create opportunity to acquire knowledge. I know several times I've sent you programs for a flyer for youth program. Nobody participates from you. So it's not just like now on the 19th of February, we are having a virtual UN tour and briefing. None of you has signed up. Education is power. Even if we take the entire thing to UN Secretary General, and he said, this column for youth, who is coming to, I need to hear from the youth. And nobody will come up. Or even when you come out, you come to look at the Secretary General, which is not right. You need to encourage the youth of indigenous community. Let them grow up. Let them grow up. It's very, very important.
I'm actually trying to, with the Numai Kingdom, create ties with the local quilombolas and the indigenous villages here in Brazil. They're a really close group, which I understand. And then the fact that I come from the United States makes them even that more skeptical. So it's becoming a trial. But I believe it's of the utmost importance that, we make that connection between the diaspora and everybody here in Brazil. So I am working on that. I do apologize for not being in the productions that you posted. There's been a lot going on down here, even though there's a pandemic. Still trying to get my head together as well. But we're working on it, and that's all we can do. So I want to share, Dr. Okika knows about this project. Mikisa, you'll be the first time seeing this. This is basically the reason why, this is my reason for even waking up in the morning. So.
Okay.
What if we took these kids and these kids and let them interact together? What if we did that with kids from all over the world? I think we can make the world a better place. Guerreiros da Luz is an organization that wants to do exactly that. This organization, the idea for this organization started in 1998 when I was asked to represent the United States in a capoeira tournament in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. While I was there, I met a group of 6 kids who were homeless and living on the streets. Once they met me, they were stuck at my side, always asking questions and always happy. This really changed my life. Ever since then, I've dedicated my life to try and make this experience somebody else's experience as well. What we plan to do with Guerreiros da Luz is take kids from New York, LA, Africa, Japan, all over the world, and bring them in small groups of kids to interact with other groups of kids. The headquarters is going to be on Morro de Sao Paulo, Brazil. Morro de Sao Paulo is a little island off the coast of Bahia. It's full of nature, not a whole lot of media influence. It's a great place for kids to be kids, interact with life and each other. This fundraiser is to raise money with your contributions to build the headquarters, the world headquarters on Morro de Sao Paulo. This past summer, we were donated a plot of land on the island that has already been cleared to build this cultural center. Now it's time to take the next step and actually start the building process. We have a team of people that are working with this. We have architects, we have engineers, we have teachers, and if you put all of our experience together working with kids, we have over 60 years of experience. This is a great project. It's a world unity project, and it's something that we can all get together and help and share and do our part to change the planet, to change the world, because the children are the future, and we need to do something to make sure that they have a future to take care of.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
that's what I do. That's why I'm here, and
Yes.
been here for the better part of 12 years, and we still doing it.
Congratulations. It looks like an awesome program.
Yeah, we built the cultural center. It's about 80% done, and now that this COVID
Nice.
thing has happened, I had to relocate, not permanently, but just while this is going on, to the mainland. And we're trying to get the center back open on the mainland as well, so we can start doing the cultural exchanges, at least between the mainland and the island, until we can get it going globally, which is the next step.
Okay. Well, this is the great time to do it because it's local setbacks, but the world is looking to invest in the youth right now, it seems like. Yeah, so that's really awesome.
I'd like to add a comment and go back to some of the things that Dr. Okika was saying about the indigenous curriculum and what it means for young people. And to reflect on Guerrero de Luz, the project that Guerrero de Luz is an outgrowth from is a project that I had years ago called Leadership 2000. And Leadership 2000 was a leadership development training program for at-risk youth that was in several school districts in Brooklyn and a couple on Long Island and one or two up in the Bronx. And it was based upon 4 components: leadership development, using the 7 levels of leadership, which is a model I developed, martial arts, cultural enrichment, and what I call myology. My for self and ology for the study of is a term that I use to describe what some people want to call Black his story. In any event, this project was designed for at-risk youth. So when I went into a school district, they would take the worst discipline cases and put them in this program that I had. And one of the things that I noticed is that when I started teaching these young children myology, which was based upon our ancient chronology, I don't like to use that term history in reference to us, bringing it forward to the present day and beyond, these same students would be sitting on the edge of their chairs absorbing this information. These were the worst students in the school. My son Ahmad and my other children, they were not even in their teens. And I would have them come in sometimes and they would teach the martial arts component at 10, 9, 8 years old. And it all contributed to a self-identity that allowed them to be able to love themselves. Because our enslavement is based upon our self-hatred. So when our people can be in an environment that gives them the seeds of self-acculturation and self-love, it's not going to take long for them to take those seeds and propel themselves. And I got a confession for Van. We have not done one of your shows that hasn't brought tears to my eyes.
Wow.
Seriously.
Wow, Mako Kubu. Wow. Wow, that's amazing. That is amazing. You know, I think it just comes from allowing yourself to be a vessel, to be used to put forth the message that we're needing in a time that we're living in. And we have to be open to that. You know, even in doing this, you know, I've had a lot of people say, oh, well, you need to be careful about what you're talking about and, you know, and all of these things. And I'm just like, but when you've been placed on a journey, and I know that I've been put on a journey, you have to avail yourself to whatever it is that needs to be. And I just, you know, I just thank you for having me to be one of the people to host this.
You are excellent.
Yeah, that's an excellent show.
Yes, she is, Dr.
Yeah, I'm also on an executive board, and we're getting ready to launch out the Mother-Daughter Global movement of mothers and daughters, because everybody is a daughter. We have a lot of people that say that, you know, well, I don't have a daughter, but everybody is somebody's daughter. And what is it? that we can take from that space to impart and put into somebody else's daughter. So we're getting ready to do our big kickoff next month as well for Women's History Month on the 20th. And we're looking, it's going to be around the world. We have women from Japan, all around the world, and we're based here and in North Carolina. And, you know, we're just moving this platform out to the world. And that's what we have to be about.
Get me involved.
Yeah, women and mothers, we run the world, so that's very important.
Yes.
Well, I like to address that comment that somebody said, you got to be careful what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That is personification of fear.
That's right.
And that's what our enslavement has inculcated in us. Always got to be fearful of what white folks are going to think about us, what we're talking about.
Yes.
So whoever told you that, send them what I just said.
Well, I will tell them that. I will tell them that. Yeah, because we're like, okay, where is this at? And I'm just like, everything is not for everybody. What is going on with us and the Vanilla Talk Show is not for everybody. And we have to know and understand that, because once we put stuff out into the atmosphere, then that's when we come under attack. And people want to step away from the agenda that we have set forward and push us back into the corner and let us be afraid. But I'm not a woman that's afraid. So, you know, I press forward.
Dr. Okika, I got somebody want to speak to you, Dr. Okika.
Dr. Okika.
Okay.
Hello, Dr. Okika. It's been a while since.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Yeah, you see, this man took you away from New York. Oh my God! How are you doing?
Good, and yourself? Thank you.
Oh, all is well, all is well.
Much love.
Oh my God! I
Thank
kept
you.
asking about you. You left New York. And what about the arts? Are you also living it as well?
Well, I'm doing a little bit of the arts on my own here and stuff.
Wow.
But yes.
Wow.
And how
good
they've
to see
changed
you
the
again.
schools. This is great seeing you.
You met Van too. Speak to Van. You met me at the golf course that time.
Which one is it?
That's Van.
Yeah, I'm here. How are you doing today? How are you doing today?
Yourself.
I had to remind her that she met you, Van.
She met me when you put me on the spot with everybody.
Yes, he does that very well. Hi, Maud.
Hi, Ma.
You're on.
All right. Thank you for taking a moment to holler at me. Much blessings to everybody. Thank
That's okay. It's always, I mean, what we're doing here is it's a necessary thing that we're doing. And we know that there's going to be an ultimate goal. And we're all going to be able to see that. And that's, you know, that's our thing. I'm a heart patient, and I told my doctor last week, and I told him, I said, I have to learn to move a little faster, a little slower. So
I just came from a kidney doctor, so.
Oh, wow. So you got to move a little faster, a little slower too.
Right. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, but today has been absolutely amazing, and I truly have enjoyed everyone, the beautiful ladies that have come on and spoke with us and given us a platform and a space that we're need to be moving, because we are responsible for our youth and where they're going to be going. And we are responsible if there are people that are left behind. We don't, you know, it doesn't matter if it's in the city, they're in the big places, but in the little villages, we are responsible for the people that may or may not get left behind. And if we have anything to do with it, we're going to make sure that everybody goes along and be at the end when we get to the end. So this has been a great day with the Van Miller Talk Show. I found my voice, and we ask you to come join us. ladies, you can join us anytime. It's every Thursday at 12 o'clock. So you don't have to be speaking. Come and join us as we talk about the Van Miller Talk Show. I found my voice. Thank you so much and have a great, great rest of the day.
Thank
you
Thank you.
for making me bring my voice out. Thank you all.
Mhm.
Oh my God.
Great show, everybody.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Only gets better.
And
Thank
Van, you can't keep making me cry now.
I'm sorry. I didn't
Thanks
mean to
for
make you
having
cry.
me.
It's just going to get better. That's our ultimate, is to be the best that we can be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Miss McKee, thank you so much. Dr. Okika, thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Please come back. Please come back to the show.
Yes, thank you for the invitation. I will come back.
All right.
Yeah, definitely,
It was an
definitely.
awesome
You gotta
show.
be
Thank
back.
you so much. Okay, just let me know. Have a great week.
All right, you do the same. Mama, you got to keep talking about your program.
Okay.
That's the only way you're going to get it finished.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, somebody's going to come on the show that has the money and say, what do you need? So you got to keep it in the forefront.
But I have another meeting with Isaiah Blaylock coming up in the next couple of days. So
Oh, okay.
hopefully, I mean, even if I don't get the funding, I'm gonna do what I can.
But it'll happen. You have to just keep putting it in the atmosphere. Like for myself, I took a master class last year. I said I was going to be a producer year before last.
Yeah.
And I took a master class last year. And so I think that I have something coming up in the near future where I'll actually get to be a producer.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, so I just feel like you have to put stuff out into the atmosphere for it to come to pass. So you got to keep putting that in the forefront, because that is what your goal is.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I gotta make it happen.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. Look, with Marcus Cooper, we can't help it happen.
Into that. What am I here?
Well, maybe they won't take down today.
Well, I've been putting them on the LBRY TV. But
that's the link, that the other thing that you sent me. Yeah, I did see them there.
Okay. Well, great, everybody. This has been another World Media Coalition Jazz Lovers Television Network Legacy Builder Zoom television presentation of I Found My Voice with Van Miller. And everybody stay blessed. We will see you next time.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye.